Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the news at 6 on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are this evening's headlines. Parliament meets after a month-long recess. Rajya Sabha adjourned for the day after paying homage to 5 members, including sitting MP Haji Abdul Salam. Home Minister Rajnath Singh informs Lok Sabha that NIA will probe the Lucknow encounter, praises father of suspect Saifullah for calling him a traitor and refusing to accept his son's body. Two Lashkar-e-Toiba militants and a civilian killed in 9-hour gun battle with security forces in Pulwama district. Encounter took place after security forces launched a search operation in Pagdampora area. And state of Hawaii becomes the first US state to take legal action against President Donald Trump's revised travel ban, argues that the new order does not significantly differ from the first one. Well, the budget session of Parliament resumed after a month's recess today. Rajya Sabha adjourned for the day today after paying homage to 5 members, including a sitting MP. Soon after the House met after a month-long recess, Chairman Muhammad Hamid Ansari read out obituary references to former members Puttapaga Radhakrishna, P. Shiv Shankar, Syed Shahabuddin, Rabi Ray and sitting member Haji Abdul Salam. The House will meet tomorrow at 11 a.m. Meanwhile, addressing the Lok Sabha, Home Minister Rajnath Singh informed the House that the Lucknow encounter will be investigated by the NIA. The issue of alleged hate crimes in the US also resounded in the House, and the government will make a statement on the issue next week. Here are the details.
The National Investigation Agency will probe suspected terror cases, including the recent Lucknow encounter linked to a train blast. Making a statement in Lok Sabha, Home Minister Rajnath Singh also praised the father of the suspect, Saifullah, for his refusal to accept his son's body, calling him a traitor.
जब उत्तर प्रदेश पुलिस सैफुल्ला जो मारा गया है उसके पिता से मिले और उन्होंने उसकी लाश को हैंडओवर करने की बात कही, तो जो स्टेटमेंट दिया है उसके सैफुल्ला के पिता मोहम्मद सरताज ने कि जो देश का न हुआ वो मेरा कैसे हो सकता है, उसने कोई सही काम तो किया नहीं है, मुझे उसका मरा हुआ मुंह तक नहीं देखना है। और आगे कहा है, मैंने पूरी जिंदगी मेहनत की और परिवार को पाला है, लेकिन सैफुल्ला ने मुझे शर्मिंदा कर दिया। हर किसी के लिए देश पहले है, यह सैफुल्ला के पिता सरताज कहते हैं, जबकि सैफुल्ला देश का नहीं हो सका, इसलिए वह मेरा भी नहीं हो सकता है। इसलिए अध्यक्ष महोदय, मैं सैफुल्ला के पिता के प्रति सरकार की तरफ से भी पूरी सहानुभूति व्यक्त करता हूं और मैं समझता हूं पूरा सदन सैफुल्ला के पिता सरताज के प्रति अपनी सहानुभूति व्यक्त करेगा।
The Home Minister also gave details of cases registered in Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh after the blast, in which 10 people were injured. He also informed the House that 8 pistols, 630 live cartridges, 1.5 lakh rupees, 3 mobile phones, 4 SIM cards, 2 wireless sets and some foreign currency were recovered from Saifullah's house.
दोनों राज्यों की पुलिस द्वारा त्वरित कार्रवाई करते हुए देश की सुरक्षा पर उत्पन्न संभावित खतरे को टालने में सफलता प्राप्त की गई है। इस पूरे प्रकरण की जांच NIA से कराई जाएगी।
Rajnath Singh also informed that India is viewing the alleged hate crimes against Indians in the US seriously after opposition members raised the issue in the upper house. The government will make a statement on the matter in Parliament next week. Ravinder Sheran's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Joining me for a chat this evening to talk about the Parliament session and what to expect in this Parliament session or the second half of the budget session is our correspondent Vishal Dahiya. Well, Vishal, the Rajya Sabha, of course, was adjourned soon after reconvening after the recess due to the death of a sitting member. But as far as the Lok Sabha was concerned, business was as usual today.
Well, yes, you're right, Frank. Indeed, there is a convention that whenever there is a death of a sitting member of either of the houses, the proceedings of that particular house are adjourned for the day after paying obituary references, and that's exactly what happened in the upper house today. As we are all aware that a few days ago, the Congress's sitting MP Haji Abdul Salam from northeastern states had passed away rather, and as a result of that, the House proceedings were adjourned after paying obituary references, after paying homage to him and other members, ex-members rather, who had passed away during this recess period, as that is the time when the first half of the budget session got over and the second half began today. But then from tomorrow onwards, it is expected that the House will function smoothly, and there are several important issues which the government would want to go ahead and be taken up in the form of the bills, and the opposition also has several issues up its sleeves on which it would want to go ahead and question the government and seek answers from. So from tomorrow onwards, the upper house will function smoothly, and we are hoping that a number of issues will be taken up since tomorrow is a private members day. And in the Lok Sabha, the proceedings are going on right now as we speak. In fact, the minister in charge, that's Labour and Employment Minister, is right now giving a reply on the maternity bill, the bill which has been brought to the lower house by the government. So once this bill gets out of the lower house, there will be other businesses will be taken up.
Indeed, but as far as the second half of the budget session itself is concerned, the focus of the government will clearly be on, passing the remaining legislatures as far as the GST bill is concerned. Apart from that, of course, what's the focus likely to be on?
Well, there are a number of bills which are high on the priority list of the government. Yes, GST is one of them. But as far as GST is concerned, Frank, there are two bills, that's CGST and IGST. The draft of these two bills was cleared by the GST Council in its last meeting just before this second half of the budget session began. But the government is likely to bring those two bills in the House only after Holi. So it is expected that these bills will be brought to the lower house in the next week, or maybe next to next week, because another meeting of the GST Council is expected to take place on 16th of March, and in that particular meeting there is one more bill whose draft is going to be finalized by the council, and then state assemblies has to clear it. So the government wants to be fully prepared before bringing all these bills to the parliament. That about GST. Apart from that, there are other important legislation as well. One of them has already been discussed and debated in the lower house today, the maternity benefits legislation. And apart from that, the Enemy Property Act, on which several ordinances have been brought in by the government. This bill is also high on the government's agenda, and it was listed in the upper house today, but since the house was adjourned due to obituary references to the sitting member, it could not be brought in. So we are expecting that if not tomorrow, then the bill might be brought in the upper house immediately after that holiday break for the festival of Holi.
Indeed, but as far as some of the the pressing matters and the pressing issues itself are concerned, have the political parties been sitting down and talking about some of those? Can we expect some of those issues really to be raised over the next couple of weeks or so?
Well, definitely. In fact, some of them were raised today in the lower house. The fishermen issue in Tamil Nadu was raised by the members of southern parties in the lower house. And in fact, there was a protest just before the house began in front of Mahatma Gandhi's statue on the issue of attack on Indian citizens in the United States of America by opposition parties such as All India Trinamool Congress. So obviously there are several issues which the opposition parties would want to raise once the House proceedings go on smoothly. But then one very important twist out here is the counting day, which is going to be on Saturday, that's day after tomorrow. So a lot of narrative as far as the opposition is concerned and the strategy of the government is concerned. They might undergo a lot of change after 11th of March once the results of those 5 states are announced, and then there will be a 2 to 3 day break as well. So obviously around 15th of March onwards, when the second half of the budget session is in full swing, we might see a completely different picture as is available right now.
Indeed. All right, Vishal Dahiya, we'll have to leave to that. Thanks so much for joining us there with those details. Now, news from Kashmir's Pulwama district. Two Lashkar-e-Toiba militants and a civilian were killed during a 9-hour gun battle in Avantipora area. The encounter broke out in Padgampora village after security forces launched a late-night cordon and search operation following information about the presence of militants. Both militants have been identified as Jahangir Ganai and Mohammad Shafi Shergunjri. Now here's a quick update on the polls that took place today, finally bringing an end to the election process in the 5 states. Polling took place today in Alapur constituency in Ambedkar Nagar district of Uttar Pradesh. The February 15th election had to be postponed after SP candidate Chandrasekhar Kannauja died of a heart attack while campaigning in Ambedkar Nagar on the 12th of February. His widow Sangeeta Chowdhury contested from the seat today. Nearly 56% polling was recorded till 3 p.m. Meanwhile, polling has also ended for Uttarakhand's Karnaprayag seat. The February 15th election was postponed following the death of BSP candidate Kuldeep Singh Kanwasi in a road accident. 41.5% polling was recorded in the area till 1 p.m. And repolling in 3 districts of Manipur also took place today. Nearly 77% voting was recorded till 3 p.m. The repolling took place in 34 polling stations in Imphal, Churachandapur and Kangpopi districts. The repoll was ordered on Tuesday following electoral malpractices in these polling stations. Well, here's a roundup of the other news from across the nation in Nationwide. The RBI will soon issue 10 rupees denomination notes with enhanced security features for circulation. According to the Reserve Bank, banknotes in the Mahatma Gandhi series 2005 will carry the inset letter L on both number panels, bearing the signature of Governor Urjit Patel. Among other features, numerals on both the panels will be ascending size from left to right. However, all notes issued in the past will continue to be legal tender. Upar fire tragedy, accused Gopal Ansal will have to surrender by March 20th to serve the remaining period of the 1-year sentence after a 3-judge bench of the Supreme Court dismissed his plea for parity today. Gopal Ansal had pleaded that he was ill and his health would suffer irreparable damage if sent to prison. The Ansals are convicted in the Upar fire tragedy, in which 59 people had died during the screening of a film in 1997. Delhi's Lieutenant Governor Anil Baijal has rejected the AAP government's decision to give 1 crore rupees compensation to the family of ex-serviceman Ramkishan Grewal, who had committed suicide over the OROP issue last year. In his note to Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, Baijal said that the case does not fall within the parameters of the scheme for grant of ex gratia payment, that is, death occurring in the discharge of official duty. By-polls to the Srinagar and Anantnag Lok Sabha seats will be held on April 9th and 12th. Anantnag seat fell vacant in June last year after Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti won the assembly polls and resigned from the Lok Sabha. Also, the assembly by-poll in Radhakrishnan Nagar seat in Tamil Nadu, which fell vacant following the demise of then Chief Minister Jayalalitha, will also be held on April 12th. And the by-election to Malappuram Lok Sabha seat in Kerala, which fell vacant following the demise of E. Ahmed, will also be held on April 12th. It's time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
I think the Vice Chancellor has to be always the academician. So he is the only one who can make the difference. I also made a study that if arteries are rough, right, then we have more chances. And if the arteries are elastic, then we have less chances of having the heart problem. That way, we look into the medicines, for example, which make the artery elastic.
Watch Eureka with Professor Tankeshwar Kumar, Vice Chancellor at Guru Jambheshwar University. Only on Rajya Sabha television.
The art of painting comes to us from the prehistoric period. Paintings are also a valuable source of information about their age. Like this depiction of the wedding procession of Dara Shikoh. The eldest son of Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan had a Mughal wedding with distinctive Indian elements. Like the veil he wears to the pomp and show of the Bharat in Hindu weddings.
Tales that inspire. Stories of social change. A salute to diversity. Promoting public discourse. Events that motivate. Inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, the state of Hawaii became the first U.S. state to take legal action against President Donald Trump's revised travel ban. The state's attorney general argued late on Wednesday that the new order was pretty much the same as the first one. The new directive, which takes effect on 16th March, places a 90-day ban on people from 6 mainly Islamic nations and a 120-day ban on all refugees. Hawaii is seeking a nationwide restraining order blocking implementation of the order. The state's complaint said it was suing to protect its residents, businesses and schools, as well as its sovereignty against illegal actions of President Trump and the federal government. Trump had signed new travel ban orders on Monday. His first order was blocked by U.S. federal courts, which called it unconstitutional. Well, the governor of the U.S. state of Kansas has written to Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressing regret at the alleged racial attack in which an Indian engineer was killed. Kansas Governor Sam Brownback conveyed that the acts of hate and intolerance have no place in his state. He said, and I quote, "As governor of the state of Kansas, I would like to express my deep sadness and profound regret at the terrible act of violence committed against Srinu Kuchibhotla and Alok Madasani. The people of Kansas share in my shock and horror. Words cannot express the sorrow that we feel for Srinu's wife, Sunaina, and his family in Hyderabad," unquote. Srinivas Kuchibhotla was killed and Alok Madasani, another Indian, was injured in Kansas last month in an alleged racial attack after the gunman was heard shouting, "Get out of my country." The Kansas incident and the two hate crime incidents against Indians and Indian Americans since then has sent shock waves among the large Indian community in the United States. Earlier on March 4th, Indian Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar, on a visit to the U.S., expressed confidence in the Donald Trump administration's endeavor to bring the perpetrator of the Kansas shooting to justice. A federal criminal investigation has been launched into WikiLeaks' publication of documents detailing alleged CIA hacking operations. The FBI and CIA will be coordinating the inquiry. The developments came after WikiLeaks published thousands of files on Tuesday that allege that the CIA has become the preeminent hacking operation, sneaking into high-tech phones and televisions to spy on people worldwide. The investigation will look into how the documents came into WikiLeaks' possession, who might have leaked them. Are there other unpublished documents that WikiLeaks has in its possession? While so far the CIA, FBI and White House have declined to comment on the authenticity of the files, authorities say President Donald Trump was extremely concerned about the security breach.
As you can imagine from the President's previous comments, he is extremely concerned about this, about these allegations, about this, about the potential that something, if this were true, would have on our national security. And make no mistake about it, I think the President has talked before that anybody who leaks classified information will be held to the highest degree of law. We will go after people who leak classified information. We will prosecute them to the full extent of the law. This is playing with our nation's national security is not something that should be taken lightly under this administration.
Well, the death toll in the IS attack on Kabul military hospital has risen to 49, while over 90 people have been wounded. In one of their most brazen attacks, ISIS gunmen dressed as doctors and slipped into Afghanistan's largest military hospital, the Sardar Daud Khan Hospital, and battled with security forces inside the building for hours. The attack began when a suicide bomber blew himself up at the rear of the hospital. The terrorists rampaged through the 400-bed hospital, shooting doctors, patients and visitors and battling security forces for almost 6 hours in a sophisticated operation. The attackers were gunned down after special forces landed on the roof of the hospital in a military helicopter.
با حساب ما 2 نفر خود دیدیم که در منزل دو یکی سر ما فایر کرد که ما از منزل دو دفعه نورسی رو باز کردم اگه از منزل دو من هم انداختم نارنجک سر میلا کرده بود امو مهاجمین از منزل دو از زینه بالا شده بود به طرف سمت می آمد.
خیلی بالکل یک وحشت بود دیگه به خاطر از اینکه این کسایی که آمده بودم چپنای سفید به تن داشتن چپنای سفید لباسای دکترها را دیگه از این خاطر ما هیچ کس باور نمیکرد که دکتر اصلا یک کلاشینکوف در دستش باشه کسی را بزنه. دیگه اینمی جای تعجب است که با استفاده از چپن سفید کشتن انسان ها امی کار بسیار خراب است و خصوصا مریضای ما را تمامش کشتن از بین بردن دکترهای ما را از بین بردن.
Well, now let's get you a roundup of all the other international news in Global Buzz. The US has rejected a Chinese proposal aimed at reducing tension in the Korean peninsula, saying that all previous attempts to persuade North Korea to halt its nuclear program have failed and there's a need to find new ways to engage. The State Department's acting spokesman Mark Toner said that the defense cooperation between the US and South Korea cannot be compared to the blatant disregard the North has shown. 3 missiles entered Japan's exclusive economic zone on Monday, prompting Japan and US to say that the region had entered a new stage of threat. China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi has come up with the idea of extending the remit of BRICS by inviting other developing countries under a new banner, BRICS Plus. The decision may hurt India's interests. Analysts believe China is trying to expand its influence by inviting its allies, and the move might result in the dilution of the roles played by India and other countries in BRICS. The club has 5 countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa. German Chancellor Angela Merkel said Britain's vote to leave the European Union last year should be a wake-up call for the bloc. Merkel reiterated that member states had to be able to press ahead with integration at different speeds. She also reiterated that talks on Brexit could only start once London triggers Article 50 of the EU's Lisbon Treaty, which starts the divorce talks. A fire tore through a home for abused teenagers and children in Guatemala, killing at least 19 girls. The fire was sparked off by some residents setting fire to the mattresses after an overnight attempt to escape from the overcrowded center. At least 40 others are being treated for burns. President Jimmy Morales declared 3 days of national mourning, and the government criticized conditions at the home. Let's now shift focus and bring you up to speed with some sports news and sports beat. Star Indian shuttler PV Sindhu has beaten Dinar Ayusteen 21-12, 21-4 to progress to the quarterfinals of the All England Open Badminton Championships for the first time. Earlier, Saina Nehwal and HS Pranoy also advanced to the pre-quarterfinals. Saina registered a comfortable 21-15, 21-14 win against defending champion Nazumi Okuhara, while HS Pranoy defeated China's Qiao Bin to advance to the next round. Parajay Jayaram and Kidambi Srikanth lost their opening matches to bow out of the tournament. The International Cricket Council did not press charges against Australian skipper Steven Smith and Indian captain Virat Kohli in connection with the DRS incident during the Bengaluru Test. The ICC said that no action will be taken, adding that they would encourage both teams to focus their energies on the next Test match. Smith had termed his action in seeking an opinion from his dressing room as a brain fade, but the BCCI has said that it will appeal against the decision. Barcelona made Champions League history by becoming the first team to overrun a first-leg 4-0 deficit as they knocked out Paris Saint-Germain to reach the quarterfinals. Barcelona were 3-5 down in aggregate, but a frantic last 7 minutes saw them scoring 3 goals as they reached the last 8 for the 10th consecutive season. In another tie, Borussia Dortmund reached the quarterfinals after beating Benfica 4-1 on aggregate score. That's it on this newscast. Have a good evening.